Welcome, ladies and gents, to the first battle of forums. I am your host, Mr. 95, and I intend to let fictional characters battle each other, maybe a little bit as Crew Attack does, except that it would be without Polygon 2 or 3D facings. But to do things differently, instead of giving you the full backstory of characters, I'm simply going to give you a few crucial elements that define their strengths and weaknesses, and I'll do these videos with the assumption that you already know who the characters are. Most of my information will come from forums and other opinions that I find in different internet sites. The links will always be written in the description. I have seen crazy debates in forums, and I think that everyone should participate because it's just awesome. On the contrary of Screw Attack, I will sometimes not be able to stay neutral and share my own opinion. With that, I'd like to make something clear: don't be formal and share your opinions. In such contests, there are no such things as rights or wrong, so I'd like you to use your imagination, your knowledge, and your intelligence to defend your favorite characters and your own opinions. And about the characters, it'll go from fictional to even real people. Trust me, it'll be so much fun, so you better subscribe to stay tuned, and because it's totally a fan service, you should share your thoughts for future battles. In the introduction of the next video, I'll promote your channels by giving your name if I see you're an active YouTuber. Alright, for the first battle, everything starts with this question: who would come out victorious in a battle between Wolverine and Iron Man? A good question, because Tony has his huge weapon stock and Wolverine is almost indestructible and has a crazy healing factor. So it's a good question if you ask me. When doing my research, I first analyzed Tony's abilities, and the first thing I stumbled upon was that he's a genius billionaire playboy philanthropist, something we already knew. He's also the sole inheritor of Stark Industries, a weapons manufacturer, or like Obadiah Stane said in the first movie, they're warmongers. Now, Tony Stark as Tony Stark is, according to the Marvel database, someone with a genius level intellect, a highly proficient scientist, an engineer, a business person, and a player. And apparently an expert hand-to-hand combatant? I don't think he is an expert at all. I saw the Avengers anime or even Avengers 2 Age of Ultron. That guy is far from being an expert. Marvel don't try to always overpower your heroes, it never works out. When Tony is in trouble, he'll always call upon his suit of armor, and he's got maybe over 50 suits, each with their own specialties. He's got stealth armor, a Hulkbuster, and even a Thorbuster. So there's a link in the description, so yeah, it'll bring you to a website that shows all the armor he has. He's got superhuman strength and durability. When he's got the armor on, he's got a cyberpathic link with a prior version of his powered armored suit. He has supersonic flight, even though this speed would cause a human being to go blind and probably die in mid-air. And if you don't believe me, ask the game theorist or Zex Marquise from Gundam Wing. He's got energy repulsor that pick kinetic energy along the way, which means the farther they travel, the harder they hit. He's got energy shields that can be extended up to 360 degrees, freeze beam, three-dimensional holograms to create decoys, missiles, a regenerative life support, so I'd say he's simply a flying weapon arsenal. And on the other side, we have Wolverine. Compared to Iron Man, I can't say that Logan has some freaking insane intelligence, but don't take it lightly. We do know that he's a mutant with a good number of both natural and artificial improvements to his physiology. First of all, he has an extended longevity, and thanks to that, he traveled around the world and amassed extensive knowledge of foreign languages like Japanese, Russian, or even Chinese. During his time in Japan and other countries, Wolverine becomes a master of virtually all forms of martial arts and is experienced in virtually every fighting style on Earth. That's when we talk about an expert fighter. So Tony being an expert hand-to-hand fighter, marvel please. Wolverine demonstrates skills to defeat Captain America in single combat, something I can't ever imagine Tony doing. He has this longevity thanks to his healing factor. For those that do not know the healing factor, it regenerates damaged or destroyed tissues of his body far beyond the capabilities of an ordinary human, and it also makes him extraordinarily resistant to diseases or drugs or toxins. His skeleton was reinforced with the indestructible metal adamantium, and you have to know that because his skeleton has a layer of adamantium around it, Logan could have suffered from metal poisoning. But because his healing factor is constantly working, Logan is saved, and it is hinted that Logan's healing factor became much better through the years because of all the exposures to pain and bruises. To be more specific, Wolverine survived a nuclear blast and recovered in mere minutes. Can you possibly imagine how impossible it is to survive a nuclear blast when you're only a few miles away from its blast radius? You have no chances. It's a certain death. And by the way, Logan has retractable claws that he can pop out on command from between his knuckles, and because they are made of adamantium, they can cut through practically anything, with the exception of other adamantium or vibranium substances. So his mutation consists of animal-like adaptations of his body, so he has better senses of sight, smell and hearing. He can see with perfect clarity at greater distances and even in near total darkness. His hearing is enhanced. He can hear sounds that ordinary humans cannot and hear to greater distances. His stamina is sufficiently heightened to the point that he can exert himself for numerous hours even after exposure to powerful tranquilizers. He also has enhanced agility and reflexes levels beyond the physical limits of, let's say, Usain Bolt. I'm not even saying half of what Wolvie can do. And for this battle I went to different forums and websites to copy-paste all the best explanations that people had to claim why Wolvie or Iron Man would win. And I'll give you the opinions in favor of Iron Man first. The first one says that Wolverine can be killed, and one way to do that is to use plenty of firepower to beat his healing powers. That's something Iron Man is capable of, assuming he uses his best armor with plenty of bombs and missiles. Another one says that Iron Man's repulsor tech is basically high-powered yet focused electromagnetism, which basically can throw Wolverine around like a rag doll because of his adamantium skeleton, and Iron Man has other weapons besides his repulsors as well, all capable of making Wolvie's life pretty miserable. And last interesting argument says that Iron Man would win because he has the raw power, speed and weaponry to slaughter Wolverine. Plus, Wolvie's never going to be able to touch him. Iron Man can fly. So he'll just fly up, blast away at Logan and blow him into the next state. Wolverine is fast, but he is no speedster. And even so, he still is at the disadvantage since he's grounded and he doesn't have enough brute strength to throw various heavy objects as projectiles. Iron Man also still has the clear advantage in strength. He has a 100-ton lift. Given enough punches, Stark could put Wolverine down. And projectiles, whether on the ground or in the air, will, as I said, destroy Wolverine. His various energy attacks and explosives would get him an easy win. This is absolute murder. Opinions in favor of Wolverine says that the only people who can beat Wolverine are people with augmented mystical cosmic powers such as Thor, Ghost Rider or Phoenix, people with durability that is equal to his or even surpasses his, so like Juggernaut, Hulk or Deadpool, or Omega level mutants like Vulcan or Hope. It's just a matter of if he can get a clean hit. Anyone else would be dead. Iron doesn't stand a chance against adamantium, and repulsor rays do no good if they can't hit or can be healed quite fast. There's a reason why the devil chose Wolverine to be his vessel. And seeing these sides, I could say that the votes were clearly in favor of Tony. He had maybe 60 to even 70% of the audience blessings, and that's my opinion. When it comes to Marvel battles, first of all, you have to know that it all depends on numerous factors to see someone come out victorious. For instance, the writer and the story. Let Stan Lee or a Marvel personnel write a story with the title Wolverine vs. the Avengers, then believe me, 80% of chance that Wolverine would destroy Iron Man really quick. He'd have a tougher time against Captain America or Black Panther, to be honest. Flip the coin and let them write a story with the title Iron Man vs. the X-Men, and Iron Man would destroy Wolverine really quick. 80% of chance that he would have a tougher battle against Cyclops or Storm. At the same time, in Marvel, when someone is called Doctor or is known to be very intelligent like Doctor Doom or Iron Man himself, then believe me, these characters are usually overpowered, even though they've been beaten several times. But trust me, and I'm speaking out of experience because I love Marvel comics and I buy a lot of their books, including Civil War or Ultimatum. When someone is intelligent in Marvel, they're always capable of making this advanced technology in no time. If Tony wants to make a suit of armor with stealth mode, or magnetic powers, or super flight, or ultra next gen weapons, heck, if he wants to have a suit that can teleport to other dimensions, I can bet my behind that he'll have it tomorrow. You know, there's no doubt that Tony's suits are invincible, but Tony as Tony Stark is not invincible, nor is he himself a superhuman. Nor is he a mutant with an extremely enhanced homeostasis. Every time Tony fights and receives blows, every time he flies at super speed, every time he falls from sky high to solid concrete, a normal, regular human being, even if it's protected by some kind of armor, will not survive it. And imagine he does survive it, there's no way he could do that on a regular basis. I say this because people enjoy to worship Iron Man as if he has the same abilities as a mutant. Iron Man is overpowered by Marvel, and that's a fact. People get your priorities straight. To conclude, if Iron Man gets prepared, then of course he would win, without a doubt. But let him wear his usual armor that we see, for instance, in the Iron Man cartoons or the Iron Man movies, and he used to fight Wolverine without being prepared, and their battle begins after Tony Stark faces Wolverine and says, "Hey Wolvie, you're hairy." It'll be over for Tony in a fraction of a second, even if Tony gets to fly high and throw his weapons arsenal. Tony, as far as I know, has no nuclear weapons or weapons as powerful as nuclear to finish Logan. Some people say that Tony has the advantage of flight and could throw missiles at longer distances. Well, listen to me, Tony in a lot of cases had to get close to opponents to be able to use some of his weapons. Tony has powerful close range weapons, and most of his unibeam attacks happened in mid to close range. Besides, a lot of people without the ability to fly has been able to get close to Tony, alright? It happened on numerous occasions. But in the end, you decide who wins. Make sure to post a comment for future battles and subscribe to stay tuned.